Picking out thoughtful and useful gifts for an artist can be kind of intimidating, especially if you aren't an artist yourself. So to help you out, I rounded up 10 gift ideas for the artist or creative person in your life. I also made a video like this last year, so at the end, if you are still looking for more ideas, be sure to check out that video. So let's get to it. Last year, I got a little criticism from other artists. Basically, a few people said that you shouldn't even bother trying to pick out gifts for artists. It's true that more experienced artists are sometimes a little more set in their ways and more particular about the supplies they use. So they suggested instead either buying gift cards or giving cash. I didn't include gift cards in my video last year because it seemed kind of obvious to me. But after some reflection, I realized that it may not be obvious where to get those gift cards from. Personally, my favorite two art retailers would be either Blick or Jerry's Artarama. Moving on, let's look at some actual products. For painters, brushes are always a great idea. Even well-maintained brushes lose their edge and need to be replaced occasionally. I personally prefer synthetic brushes to natural hair brushes, and I think they perform just as well. I bought this set of Velvetouch brushes by Princeton this year to try, and I have been really loving them. This set currently goes for about $26 online. These are synthetic sables, so they are really soft. I've been using these mostly with gouache and acrylics, but these would also be great for watercolors. They flow beautifully and have kept their point really nicely. In fact, this number 8 long round has become a new favorite of mine. It's been so great for little details and fine lines, and I would really say it's an elegant brush. The handles are comfortable too, which is something you really don't get with cheap brushes. And the finish on the handles hasn't shown any signs of cracking or damage yet, which sometimes happens with paintbrushes. Gift idea number 3 is acrylic gouache. Gouache has recently seen this huge surge of popularity in the last few years, and if the artist on your list hasn't tried it yet, it might be a new, fun product to introduce them to. Acrylic gouache has an opaque matte finish, which I love, and you can use it for fun watercolor effects or more like an acrylic paint too. I've tested the 4 big brands of acrylic gouache, and if you'd like more in-depth reviews of each of those products, you can check out this playlist. But briefly, my 2 favorite brands are Acryla by Holbein and Acryl by Turner. Of the 2, Acryla by Holbein is the more expensive pick. Turner is a little cheaper, but it's just as good as Holbein, if not better, in some ways. The only real difference other than price is that Turner is only available at select art retailers. So in the US, for example, it's available exclusively at Jerry's Artarama. So Holbein might be a little easier to find. I personally love acrylic paints for their quick dry time and flexibility, but if the artist on your list is a little more old school or they are still at the stage where they are exploring new mediums, they might enjoy trying oil paints, which is gift idea number 4. Oil paints were invented over 500 years ago, and when you talk about all the great classic art throughout history, most of it was done in oils. Oils really have a beautiful tactile quality to them that even modern acrylics can't quite match. I really feel that, especially if you're beginning to study art seriously, you should try all of the different painting mediums yourself, because that is really how you will find your medium. So for oil paints, my favorite brand is Gamblin. Gamblin is a professional grade paint, but they also have a cheaper student grade line called 1980 that is also highly rated. The first oil paint I ever tried was the Artist Loft Store brand from Michaels, and it's an okay-ish paint, but once you try a professional grade paint like Gamblin, the difference is just night and day in terms of texture and pigment load. If I was going to gift this to someone else, I would buy the set. The neat thing about the Gamblin sets is that they also come packaged with a wood painting panel, which is really cool. The main downside of oil paints is that they are quite messy because they dry so slowly. Which brings us to gift idea number 5. I can't tell you how many times I have just casually brushed past a wet oil painting and ended up with paint smeared all over myself. And then unwittingly went out in public like that, only to hear people whisper among themselves, "Does that girl have paint on her legs?" And the answer, of course, is yes. Yes, she does. So, for the accident-prone, messy painter like me, acrylics are a better fit. My number 1 favorite brand of acrylics is Golden Heavy Body Acrylics, and a close second is Liquitex Professional Heavy Body Paints. I use both these brands interchangeably, and I will even mix them together and use them in the same painting. What I like about these two paints is that they are both heavy body paints, so they more closely resemble the texture and feel of an oil paint than, say, a soft body acrylic like Liquitex Basics. If you decide to purchase either oil paints or acrylic paints, a great gift idea to complement that is a sampler set of painting mediums. Painting mediums are basically things that you can mix in with your paint to change the quality and characteristics of the paint. So, for example, some mediums might make a paint more fluid, others might make it dry faster or slower, some might make it more transparent. You can also get mediums for paint pouring, for example, or this one has tiny glass beads for a textured finish. One thing that I don't personally prioritize when I am shopping for myself is frames for my art. Frames can be kind of expensive, so I just avoid buying them. Which is also why I think they would make a really wonderful gift. When you are shopping for frames, what you want to look for ideally is a frame deep enough to accommodate a stretched canvas. Also, measure the frame to make sure it's not a weird size with odd dimensions. Ideally, it should fit a standard size canvas, like 8x10 or 9x12 or so on. If their style is more classic or vintage, you can sometimes thrift really cool pieces. Or if you have any woodworking skills, you could also make frames. As an added bonus, it would be really nice to include a canvas or panel that fits in the frame that you bought. Which leads us to gift idea number 8, which is painting surfaces. And the options are endless. The most obvious pick is stretched canvas, and that always makes a wonderful gift for painters. I personally like the Blick store brand, and the main thing I would say when you are purchasing for others is to look for at least a mid-weight canvas. And if you can, look at the grain to make sure that it is stretched straight. Cheaper canvas isn't always stretched straight, and it's a personal pet peeve of mine when the grain isn't aligned correctly. But you don't have to limit yourself to just canvas or panels. This is a blank tea set I got for my nieces, and it is so cute. This particular one is Mondo Llama from Target. Now, obviously the actual paint in the set was kind of terrible, but the wood pieces were really cute, and they had so much fun painting this. So things like that would make a really fun gift for any artist. Gift idea number 9 is gold or silver leafing supplies. And I know that some of you might be thinking, what is she talking about? But I think this is one of those things that a lot of artists might enjoy incorporating into their artwork. So when you think of gold leafing, you probably think of frames or lamps, but you can also apply metal leaf to stretched canvas too, and then paint over it so you have these areas of sparkle. So think Gustav Klimt, for example. Now obviously this is definitely not everyone's style, and you need to know your audience on this one. But I do know that there is a decent subset of artists out there who would really enjoy incorporating this into their artwork, but have never tried it. Metal leaf is a little fiddly to use, but it looks really pretty in a finished piece. Obviously real gold or silver leaf is pretty expensive, so I personally would go with an imitation leaf, which is usually a copper zinc alloy. But for the right artist, this can make a really fun gift. Finally, gift idea number 10 is not actually an art supply, but it is an indispensable part of my process, and that's wireless headphones. I'm not going to even pretend that I have sampled every pair of headphones out there because I don't have the means to do anything that crazy. But I can tell you these are my headphones. They were a definite splurge, and I regret nothing. This particular pair is the Sony WH-1000XM4. I love the noise cancellation, it's superb. I have the black pair, but they also come in gold and midnight blue. And I personally think they are so comfy. I like to put these on and put on my favorite music or an audiobook and just tune the whole world out. And it really helps me get into an artistic state of mind. And I know I'm not the only one. These normally are $350, which is a lot, but they sometimes go for $100 off, so be sure to look for a sale. And that was 10 gift ideas for the artist or creative person in your life. If you'd like more gift ideas like this, please be sure to check out my previous video. There are a lot of really great products in that one that I didn't cover in this video. So be sure to check that out. And if you have any gift ideas yourself that I didn't mention, please be sure to share them in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching. Bye!